say something?
Oh, there, now it's working. Okay, cool. Hello, and welcome to Evermore Me Day 25. Today, we're going to talk about dandelion greens. Although, we wrote dandy greens because we couldn't fit dandelion on this little chalkboard.
And it's pretty darn dandy. The level of amazing stuff that you can get from dandelion greens. And if you've never seen them, most people are familiar with dandelion greens if you haven't eaten them as those weeds that everyone tries to kill that grow all over the place and they think of as a pest. Well, these pests have the potential to do so much for you in a positive way from a nutrition standpoint. Just from a sort of statistical standpoint of what a cup, or let's start with a half a cup of dandelion greens. More calcium than a glass of milk or broccoli, a cup or half the same amount. More iron than spinach. Let's go to a cup, just a cup of this stuff. It's 19 milligrams of vitamin C. That is 32% or 1/3 of our recommended daily allowances. 112% vitamin A. Carrots yesterday, also a great source, but these are pretty friggin' awesome. 20% protein, double that of spinach. So all that stuff that spinach gets, you know, all the Popeye fame for, dandelions are actually more powerful. And last but not least, actually not last, but this actually more calcium than a cup of cottage cheese. So the other was a glass of milk, but a cottage cheese. Okay, just giving you all the great numbers that I got.
Statistics there.
Yeah, one more, vitamin K, which is very, very, very beneficial for blood coagulation. 535% of your recommended daily allowance just from here. Also rich in antioxidants, also like the carrots, the carotenoids, and lutein, which is great for your eyes. A very rich source of potassium. Potassium is very important for heart and brain functioning. And then other minerals, to name a few: manganese, phosphorus, folic acid, magnesium. So this is in one single source that the body can fully absorb. And a great thing that we're about to talk to is that it doesn't overstimulate the liver or the kidneys the way pudding and supplementing is. There's so much nutrition in here, but it's actually very easy for the liver and kidneys to tolerate absorbing.
There's some bitter complaining from under the table because today we have a guest who is really excited about the Evermore. And
yes,
I'm going to bring him up here to say hello. This is Belville. I don't know if anyone can see him. There we go.
He's a very cute dog.
But super into the food and not into having it around all the time. So he might be complaining a little bit throughout the cast. I guarantee he'll get some.
And I think it's interesting that Hannah mentioned the word bitter because dandelions are known as having a bitter taste. And more than just their bitter taste, it's a tonic for the spleen, the stomach, the kidneys, and the liver. And what it does is this bitterness, it stimulates, it warms up the body's metabolism and it stimulates salivation. And what that does is it releases the bitters reach the stomach, and then it triggers bile and other digestive agents in the body, and then it helps improve digestion. It helps reduce indigestion, and it helps for better absorption of nutrients, and it stimulates your appetite. And this is across the board for dogs and people. And one thing I want to point out as we're eating our Evermore is that we have a little side
dish of awesome.
Side dish of awesome. These are dandelion greens that I got from the supermarket, organic. I shaved some carrots and toasted some pumpkin seeds. And I don't know if you remember, but when we were talking about parsley or apples, I said I had a great recipe for a parsley apple dressing. This is what it looks like, and I've decided because it has a nice tartness to it and it has enough personality to offset the potential, bitter taste of the dandelion greens, which we now know is a very positive thing to have, because once that saliva starts going and the bile gets produced, the body is very happy in digesting it.
Yeah. So they're pretty awesome in that bile production regards.
Oh yeah.
Actually, bile is produced in the liver, and it gets stored in the gallbladder, but sometimes that passageway can get blocked or stopped up, and dandelions actually, the dandelion greens are sort of stimulate that, and that's part of their detoxifying action. So that's a good
highly
thing.
detoxifying.
Highly detoxifying, really great. So if you have a really like party night out, chase it down with some dandelion juice the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if you want to combine your partying with your detox, you can actually make your own dandelion aperitif. One good way to do this is you can take like a big mason jar, and this actually calls for dandelion flowers. But,
Okay.
So
these are the leaves.
These are the leaves, but you can also, the flowers and the roots are also highly useful parts of the plant. The roots actually contain a lot of goodness. But you can put dandelion flowers like in a mason jar with a half a cup of sugar and some lemon zest. Then fill that baby up with vodka. Let it sit for a couple weeks, and you've got dandelion liqueur, which I'm told tastes kind of like chartreuse. So that's how you can combine your detox with your retox there.
And you know, when you gotta choose. Just to point out in terms of like helping with indigestion, this is true in dogs and in people, but especially people who've got dogs that make lots of smells. This is a particularly good thing to give to dogs. You know, or when you see that your dog is passing his food undigested, what's happening with the dandelion greens is it's going to be allowing for more absorption. So it's but also in terms of being, you know, indigestion that you feel when you're hungover, the detoxifying process.
It's also an anti-inflammatory and a natural pain reliever, which is a good thing, and it's not toxic for cats. You know, it doesn't contain salicylic acid, which a lot of pain relievers do contain, and that's like aspirin is highly toxic to cats, but dandelion greens isn't. So I think I could see dandelion greens making it into our cat formula.
Yeah, for sure. How do you like the salad?
It's really good, and you know, dandelion greens are something that I've always liked and known that I should eat, but I have always been, to be honest, like a little put off by the bitterness. But I really think that apple parsley dressing.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna put a little on the food here, just because, again, it's just apple cider vinegar. There's a touch of hot sauce and some safflower oil mixed in with one apple peel on. So not only do you get all the amazing health properties that we talked about with apples in their skin, but you get these really pretty flecks of pink, and then you have these little flecks of green in this really beautiful green color. So it's actually a very lovely dressing.
It's pretty sexy.
Yeah, it's really nice. Another real thing is a real thing that's important for dandelion greens is that it's a powerful but safe diuretic. And so, instead of having to take either over the counter diuretics, or there's one called furosemide that most people or dogs are prescribed, what dandelions do is they what happens when you take a diuretic is that it helps flush, but it flushes everything, and often it results in a loss of potassium. Dandelions have a very rich source of potassium in them. And so what they do is they act as a natural diuretic, but they also rebalance your potassium levels. So a lot of, it's actually quite common for people, I mean, it's been studied a lot in terms of that. And when you have imbalances that people need diuretics for, you know, it can be, it's the body's inability to eliminate water. Is it good with it? So, I mean, congestive heart failure, arthritis, kidney stones, these are all things that can result from imbalances.
Oh, and another thing that dandelion greens are good for is they have antiviral properties. They've actually been studied in the treatment of AIDS and herpes. And actually, while I was
it's really good.
Really good, right? Yeah. While I was doing research on dandelion greens and herpes, I discovered this thought that herpes dates back to dinosaurs.
Wow.
Paleontologists believe that a lot of the bumps on dinosaur skins were actually herpes. So just an interesting factoid.
How do they think it was transmitted?
Dirty dinosaurs, man. Dirty dinosaurs. Anyway, so that's just one other thing about dandelion greens and a little factoid about dinos and herpes.
Yeah, you get a lot when you tune in here. So, we'll warn you. I mean, dandelion greens definitely are bitter. The younger the leaf, the less bitter. But if you can offset it with a nice tangy dressing, and we will at the end of this, it's been really, really crazy busy for us, but I have a ton of recipes that I want to post, and the truth is there's several recipes that I've made being limited to Evermore ingredients that people who are not forced to just eat the ingredients we are, have been going home and making on their own. And so I think they're worth sharing. And the fact that they highlight, yes, Evermore ingredients, but so many healthful ingredients is, but anyway, combined with the dandelion greens and the sweetness of the carrots and the crunch of the pumpkin seeds, it's actually a very nice salad.
It is a really nice salad. It's actually my dessert because I finished my Evermore.
Okay.
I want to really quickly plug 2 products that contain dandelion.
Well, it was also set these to show you that dandelion greens, it's not as if people don't know about how incredibly healthy they are. Did you talk also about how they can help stabilize blood sugar?
Oh, no, I didn't get to that.
Okay, because this drink is not only a coffee substitute, Dandy Blend. When I worked up at camp last summer, I was at a health food store and ran into it, and I wasn't drinking coffee, and we were making smoothies, and I fell in love with that stuff. It tastes very malty and yummy.
Then another way to incorporate dandelion greens, once again going into the cocktail direction, although it doesn't have to be for cocktails, because you can use bitters in just, as an herbal medicine.
It's a digestive aid.
Yeah, so this is... these are bitters made by our friends at Urban Moonshine. These are actually out of Vermont, and these are maple bitters.
Oh,
they're so good. So, and they contain dandelion. So that's just one other way to get your dandelions. You can do it while you're getting your drink on. So.
I was going to say, with a salad like this, another way to offset it, maybe put a little bit of sprinkled cheese on top too.
Cheese,
a
like
little
the fat would.
Yeah, the fat would just cut it. It's all about trying to balance the flavors because it's so good and it's so good for you. Sauteed, they're very good too. And the other thing you can do kind of to balance the bitterness if you find them really bitter is saute spinach or kale or chard or another green that you love and maybe do like 2/3, 1/3. So in it, when it's all, cooked down, you're not really going to distinguish between the greens, and you'll get a little bit of that bitterness, but you'll be able to, it's always great when you're doing greens, actually, to take a bunch of different mustard greens, another one.
I mean, bitterness is good because it does stimulate that. It actually makes you salivate.
Oh,
too,
yeah, no, I agree.
Which is where the digestion starts, is in the mouth. So
it's just for palatability, for people who think that it's too bitter.
Yeah.
There's lots of ways to incorporate it.
So good. So good. Anyway, so this has been, dandelion greens are awesome. Try to eat them.
Yeah, really. I mean, they're so great.
And we'll be back tomorrow with another powerhouse ingredient. Have a good, and happy Friday.